I've been on the road lately. Thanks to Jeff, I'm here right now. I'm from Nigeria, from Lagos, Nigeria. So it's like really long way down here. I decided to find out what's happening in these parts and also to share what's happening in Africa with everyone as well. Um, so just a quick highlight. I've been to Utah, been cold. This is actually my first time in America. Yeah. So it's been cold in Utah. It's been warmer in Las Vegas with a lot more people. Yeah. Good food from just about anywhere. Yeah, and it's been much cooler in San Francisco, with good food as well. And all through, there's been hamburgers everywhere. Much more than I expected, and cheese. Yeah, so it's been good. So today, I just want to talk about the difference I've noticed in what I call it perception, as well as how we build stuff. Um, so while I got into the US at the airport, I connected to the internet, and then I just started getting notifications almost immediately. It was as if I hadn't even connected yet when the notifications started coming in. And then I looked at my Nigerian SIM card when I pulled it out. I was like, wow, what has been happening all this while? Like, I didn't know it was this fast. I checked the speed. I saw 110 megabytes per second. I started feeling bad for my phone because it could start crying if I go back to Nigeria with the amount of internet it saw, right? But then I began to think that's like the reality of these two different places, right? And the ecosystem is pretty much growing in Africa. And I feel like a couple of people need to understand what it takes to build and ship products that work just about anywhere in the world. What's the perception like? Not just here, or what do you perceive here, but what's the reality in parts like places like Africa. So that's basically what this talk is going to be about, developing internationally and building stuff that works across the world. So hello, my name is William Imoh. You can call me Chulo. If you stick around long enough, I'll tell you how I got that name. But you can find me on Twitter as well with that iChulo. Just a quick one. If you do have any questions, there's going to be a question and answer session afterwards. So ask me like all the questions you do have. You could keep forgetting to remove 95 from there. But you could tweet at me on Twitter with that iChulo as well. 1.3 billion and missing emoji. I wish that was money in my account though, but it's not, sadly. It'll be someday. That's just the population of Africa at the moment. There's 7 billion people on Earth, more. I think I hear of people giving birth just about every day. So there's like more than 7 billion right now. And 1.3 billion people in Africa, that's a huge number. I think when you begin to think of this number, you could see potential that could come out of one full continent, right? One continent that in the past, I hear a lot of people think it's just animals. But in Africa, right? I was coming to San Francisco from Oakland, and I saw the high-rise buildings. I was like, wow, this is impressive. And then the Uber driver was like, yeah, do you get this a lot? I'm like, yeah, I see this every day if I go to work in Lagos. It's common. It's like, wow, I didn't know. Like, I think now you know, right? It's not that way. So, welcome to Africa, continent of everything good. It's everything nice. There's animals as well in Nairobi, Kenya, just about anywhere. There's big cities, really big cities like Lagos, Johannesburg, Cairo, Algiers. Everything is good, but sometimes a lot of stuff could be edgy, right? One of the things that's quite edgy is going to be internet connectivity in Africa. Right now, it's pretty slow. I see 5G just about anywhere. The Wi-Fi in the place I stay is it has a 5G and a normal variation to it. And I'm like, wow, there's 5G here. That's interesting. We still struggle to get 4G, like at home. It's just coming in, right? In Lagos, for instance. A lot of people outside the city still have predominantly 2G internet speed, right? And then a bunch of them have 3G, you're blessed, I would say, right? So this is just starts on what the internet penetration in Africa is as of December 2017. I couldn't find something for 2018. I don't know, maybe there wasn't enough internet or something to, to put it out there. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but for Africa, it's on 35.2%, right? There's still a long way to go. I mean, considering there's 1.3 billion people on that continent, that's a lot of promise, I must say. On the internet users in Africa compared to the world, there's just 10% of that from Africa. That's still a lot of promise if you're feeling me, right? So what are the problems we've encountered, or what are the problems we're encountering currently with products that are built anywhere else, not in Africa, but we do use a lot of these products in Africa, and we intend to use more and contribute to them as well, right? We see a lot of things could be fast, but some of them work really slowly, right? Most times there's little to no direct product support. So it's not every time you do bring up a customer care representative thousands of miles away to say, hey, this thing is not working right. How do I make it work well? Right? I'm having this issue. They probably wouldn't even understand what you're saying because the accent, maybe. Yeah. So that's an issue. And then for developers, we trust Chrome DevTools a lot. We just tune Chrome DevTools to slow 3G and we assume we've catered for everyone with bad network. I don't think that's correct. So for me, I think that's inadequate and that's a problem. Also, the pricing models are too high, right? Not that there isn't money to pay, people just need a little bit more convincing. Since I got here, I've seen Twilio billboards, I've seen Monday.com billboards. I saw a very big iPhone XR billboard on my way to Santa Clara this morning, right? And I was like, I don't see any of those. But I can tell you there are tons of iPhones in Lagos. I use an iPhone to start with, right? These products are there, but there's little marketing, right? So for products like, say, Adobe, right? For products like that, you probably need to show people or give them better reason to pay for it. It's not like it's expensive. There's money to pay. There are really rich people there, but they just want to see more reason to pay for it. So what are the solutions to these problems, right, that we've highlighted? Looking at it from a development standpoint, front-end developer, so these are just my opinions, right? We'll be looking at the development architecture, what patterns work. This includes PRPL, front-end, and then talking about microservices, just on the surface as well, and how they'd help us achieve globalization. Yeah. Also, optimize media delivery, because I tell you, media files, they play a really huge role to how content or websites are served just about anywhere in the world. Also, there's this thing I came up with. I called it diversified test-driven development. So it's like TDD with a diversified team. So we all write tests, like you said, but this time around, how'd you go one step further to writing localized tests? You find out more just in a bit. Also, super simple deployment and support. Deployment is terrible. Not everyone wants to deal with AWS. Not everyone wants to SSH into a server. Personally, I don't like it, right? So how can we make it better for just about anybody? And also community and user groups. I saved that for the class because that's like my favorite part. Yeah, so talking about PRPL, what exactly is it? It's a concept I found on the internet by Kiosmani of Google. Basically just says, how do you build efficient websites that are fast, right? Because a lot of things we serve on normal websites are unnecessary, right? How do you serve the necessary stuff, and when do you serve the necessary stuff? So basically you push critical resources required for the initial URL route. It could be a landing page, right? How about we just forget about whatever is required for the website for the other parts, right? We see modern websites when you make requests, you just fetch everything, right? And try to cache some of them. But how about you just fetch the critical resources required for the initial route, render that initial route. You can pre-cache the remaining routes because, I mean, if someone goes to your landing page, sees what you're offering, likes it, the next route they're probably going to check is pricing route or contact us, if you need to be contacted, right? So you could fetch those one and then cache the remaining route. Lazy load just about everything from images on the page to even those routes to components if you're going with a component architecture. Yeah, another concept would be Jamstack. I actually like this a lot. Not just for building portfolio websites like before or building event listing pages, but these days you find out you begin to use Jamstack technologies to build actual dynamic websites. And I'll just tell you what Jamstack means. It's basically just JavaScript APIs and markup. It's basically the JavaScript you use normally, right? Could be any other thing, but JavaScript, right? You make API calls to microservices or just about any API that lives anywhere, right? And not everyone likes to write long lines of HTML, right? We've had EJS and some other template engines try to simplify it for us. How about we just write plain English language or Spanish or Chinese, right? And then we have all those converted to HTML for us with the JavaScript we've written, right? So basically you're writing simple markup in something like, say, Markdown, right? What are the features of this Jamstack? It's secure, right? Because there's hardly any server. When you're working with Jamstack, you see I didn't list any server that's like tightly coupled to your application. It's separate, right? So you have these APIs living on somewhere managed by some other person or some other team. That's like what it's probably could be what they do for a living, right? So because with Jamstack applications, what you have is just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You don't have a Node.js server anywhere else. So it's secure, it's fast, because most of these websites, they live on CDNs, right? Pretty much fast, and they're served just about anywhere. I tried to use actual servers, and I found out like something like AWS, the closest one could be somewhere in London, right? And I'm like, somewhere in Nigeria. You could think of the latency or how many the number of pings your packet has to go through before it goes to London and then comes back, right? Yeah, so it's fast because this is served from a CDN and the files are usually lightweight. It's cost effective as well because it's HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You don't have a large bundle size, right? You don't have node modules. You don't have any of that. You just have what you need, right? And with these things, you could host them on just about any CDN, like Netlify, Now, Surge. There's a bunch of popular CDNs that way. It's smart in the sense, like I said, you can pull in data from just about anywhere, right? Most of the recent Jamstack technologies let you pull data from CMSs, JSON files, other CDNs, right? Even documents like PDF documents, you could pull in data from those and it work. So it's smart. It's familiar as well. If you've worked with Jamstack technologies, you'd find out you could build your application in React. It's something you're familiar with. You could write it in Vue, something you're familiar with. You could even write plain JavaScript, something you're familiar with. It's not rocket science, right? And another thing I like about this is efficiency, right? Efficiency of making a website fast. Most of these technologies, they just do the background work for you, and then you could just go about thinking of how to make sales, how to begin to think about your market. You're not thinking of what you're building anymore. These are like a couple of favorite tools I do have to build out Jamstack applications. There's Gatsby.js, there's Next, there's Hugo, Noxt, and then ViewPress. So I did run a lighthouse analysis of Gatsby.js.com. Obviously, it's been optimized to like the end of the world, right? I got a couple of hundreds, 89 being the lowest and 91 for performance. And then someone did ask me, I could easily get this scores if I optimize my site without using Gatsby or without building with the Jamstack technology. I could minify and bundle everything, use Webpack out like naturally to get these things. But then I begin to think, how much work do you have to do to achieve this? When with one line, you could make your website work offline, safe with Gatsby, right? So we are beginning to think about efficiency, not if it works. Yeah, it works, but how efficient is it? Yeah, so these technologies actually bring efficiency to the table. That's why I like them. And this is basically just mobile analysis I did run on reactjs.com, which was actually built with the Jamstack tool. So my next favorite will be progressive web apps. I usually say if someone asks me what are progressive web apps, there are not too many responses. I just say cache everything. Just save everything. Try to bring the server closer to the user, right? Saving everything on the device, right? So what are progressive web apps? These are just applications that work like web applications that work like mobile applications. They look like mobile applications. You could use them on mobile phones. They're optimized for mobile. The content you see, it's online. When you're offline, you still access content, but then it works as if it's online. Meanwhile, you're offline, right? So it could probably send you a notification to say, hey, you're currently offline, right? Or the network connectivity here is very, very low. When you go or when you move to somewhere with a little bit better network, will fetch more stuff for you, will better improve your experience, right? So this is just improving your experience with using web applications. And what are the features of progressive web apps? They are fit for offline and low bandwidth networks. I mean, you have a network running at download speed of 300 kilobytes per second. I think you want to try out the progressive web apps. And by the way, that's the kind of situation we do have in a lot of parts of Africa. Download speeds of 300, 400 kilobytes per second in some places. So it's mobile first with native looking UI. So if you're really cool with using mobile applications, it's a good win for you. It has a mobile app like interface. And then push notifications, which are pretty inexistent with traditional web applications. You get that with progressive web apps as well. Next is media optimization. We all know that media files play a very large role in not just the load time, the bundle size of websites, the speed of websites as well. You get people say if it takes over 2 seconds, did I be online? If it takes over 2 seconds for your website to load, you lose X million dollars from your site. See that everywhere, but that's true, right? A lot of people get angry when a site fails to load fast, especially when it's a link that was shared to you. You're like, why is this thing not even loading? I mean, I can't lose anything. I just leave them, right? So media optimization does play a very big role in building stuff that works just about anywhere. So what are the effects of improper media optimization or image optimization generally? So you have longer load times. You have more network data requirements. So I'll give you an example. In Nigeria, you would buy 1 gig of data, 1 gigabyte, you buy it for around $5. Around $3 to $5, depending on the network, right? And then you just want to use it for you want to try as much as possible to maximize what you have, right? So you go on Instagram, you're just looking through stuff. You know, Instagram is heavy on media files, right? You're using Instagram, but you're cautioned, you know when to stop. After a while, you stop and then you decide to check out the website, just any random website. You do not know that there are like really bad images there. They all look good. They all look shiny and the resolution is like really high. Kind of loads, go through that. And then after the first, second, third page, you get warning like your data is almost exhausted. You begin to curse just about everyone that walks behind that website. They're like, why? Just because I visited your page, you want to kill me with heavy pictures and heavy videos. In fact, while you're talking, a YouTube video could just start loading in the background for you. That eats up your data. Yeah, so you get a lot of users drop off. They won't want to come back. There's larger app size, higher hosting costs, which lead to higher hosting costs as well. So if you have a ton of images on your web application you're building stored locally on the application, obviously the bundle size is going to go up. When that goes up, you're thinking of where can I dump this? Where can I dump 50 MB of application on a server? That costs a lot more. right? Than just having a couple of kilobytes that you could throw in somewhere from a CDN and then pull everything. So that's the magic. Nothing lives on your server. They just live on other people's servers that they provide at very cheap cost, right? So this also leads to rage, anxiety, questions like why bother? What am I even doing? Should I think I just eat and sleep? Stuff like that. Yeah. So what are the tips for avoiding bad media? Adopt lazy loading, right? So most times people come to your website, even though they're on the landing page, you fetch the critical resources required for that page, right? You still do not load, you don't load the full size image because you don't know if the user is going to scroll to the bottom of your page, right? So here we are trying to serve just what is required, just what is necessary. How about we load what's in the first frame, what's in the first page, what you see, the splash screen, right? If the user scrolls down, you load the rest. Just before they get into a particular frame, you load whatever is there, right? If they don't get to the bottom, do not load whatever is in the bottom, right? So that's basically what lazy loading means. You can serve from a CDN to reduce your bundle size. So you don't have to save or store your images locally on the application. You could pull them. You could use URLs from like a CDN, it could be S3 bucket, Cloudinary or some other image service. Personally, I do prefer Cloudinary. We know JavaScript quite heavy. We try as much as possible to use less and less JavaScript, right? So how about you abstract all transformations? Don't use JavaScript to transform images or videos or any of that. You could delegate that to some other service out there, but just do not use JavaScript to make the avatar round. I don't think that makes sense anymore, right? Optimize images for responsiveness. There are 7 billion people on Earth, right? There's tons of devices coming out just about every day with different screen requirements. People work in different environments, right? How do you cater for all of them? You can't serve 7 billion different images on your website. You could go the SRC set route when building a web application, right? But then you have to fill in all the various images, right? How about we do that some other way that's better, right? But just try to think of responsiveness when serving images. Also, pay attention to first meaningful paint, right? So when does a user that's waiting actually see something, right? You could use placeholders, meaningful placeholders, not missions or something, right? And also times interactive, when does JavaScript begin to work on your screen? So you could do this by using the Chrome Dev Tools, by analyzing a site to see when a user can actually interact with your site. So one of the favorite tools I do like with media optimization is Cloudinary. So they give you the options to lazy load files, like out of the box. By lazy loading, it serve a file. It could serve you a smaller image that's just like it's a copy of the larger one. So whenever a user scrolls into view, they serve you the larger one. But the smaller one is just very few kilobytes. It could be like 2 or 3 kilobytes, which is performance. You don't need the big one outrightly. Like I said earlier, abstract all transformations from JavaScript. You could do on-the-fly manipulation and transformation with URLs. Because these images are stored on Cloudinary, they service through a CDN, which is good. These images are also responsive, so they don't just serve you any image from the CDN, they serve you optimized images and they serve you responsive images as well. Like I said earlier, the pricing model matters. One thing I like about Cloudinary is when I started using them, I was like, this thing is going to be expensive, right? I mean, I just want to build a demo. I'm not building out the company from my garage yet. It's just a simple demo I just want to build. And I checked it out and I was like, I could use a few thousand images for free. Whenever I start building a company, I check them out. Also, there's the Cloudinary Debugger, which I just saw the other day. Normally, I would use Chrome Dev Tools to analyze the images when did they load, which ones didn't load, what's the cost, where are they coming from, right? So with the Cloudinary Debugger, I could see the status, what image is that for every site. I just made an analysis of Scotch.io. I figured it's very big on article cards and images, so I decided to check out the full page and see the images on there. I could see the size, I could see the time the first byte for when the image was loaded. I could see the content downloaded, what's the size actually. And then if you click on each of these images, there's details of the image, relevant details. My favorite one would be the color picker, where you could find like any color from that actually. But you could check it out if you like. Lastly, here there's the Chrome DevTools. As a developer, you probably wouldn't ignore that Chrome DevTools is like your friend. Particularly for me, when it comes to optimization, I look at the networks tab, performance tab, and then I use Chrome audits as well, Lighthouse audits, right? So they give you pretty much heavy insights on how to optimize your website or your web page, right? For performance or for for networks tab, you might want to do away with using the slow 3G option, right? When you're metering the network, you could actually set custom speeds, right? And begin to look at custom speeds from 300 kilobytes per second download and upload as well, right? With round time of around 10 seconds. Yeah, so diversified test-driven development. We all write tests for our applications, they work, they pass, right? But then I begin to think, these tests work, the application works. How about you have someone from one of these remote areas, professional as well, working on your team, right? They give you feedback on the product right from when you start development. You could all be in a boardroom and you're like, hey, we're going to go with this design, we're going to go with this, we're going to do with that. And you're like, no, it wouldn't work here. It wouldn't work in this part. You should try this or you could incorporate this, right? So that's basically what it is. And then I was like, the system of effectively working with distributed teams around the world to build products with a test-driven approach done by these team members all over the world, including remote areas. That's Chulo 2019. Because that's like when I started working on this slide. Yeah, so basically include diversity, not just in a company, but also in a product development team. That would go a very, very long way to, making sure that you're understanding not just the needs of what your market analyst sends to you, but then on ground needs of the people that would use your product. That'd go a very, very long way. Also, super simple deployment and support. Like I said earlier, I feel very bad when I have to work with like servers if I need to, right? Not because it's difficult, but because most times I don't find particular support or particular guides for what I want to do, right? There are numerous use cases. They are not as much or as many guides or as many resources, right? So what I'm just trying to say is, for every product you're building, try to build in as much support, low-level support for just about anyone. I like the articles that say introduction to XYZ or XYZ for dummies, right? For me, those are like the best articles. Even though you wouldn't read through, you just skim through and you see what you want. They're kind of like really low level. They just help about anyone. It help reduce all the queries you do get, right? So technical posts are golden. I usually give my hats off for whoever is a technical writer. So if you're a technical writer here, this one's for you. Yeah. So tools like Netlify, now Surge, that are used for deployment, they are pretty much popular in Africa now. Why? Because you want to deploy something in Netlify, you're seeing step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this, step 4. Just check, you could push to GitHub and then you see the changes being made. Zero headaches, zero worries, zero curses, zero, just you're at peace with yourself and the product you're building, right? So if these can provide enough support for developers, right? I think you can too as a builder. And the continuous deployment workflows that he did speak about, yeah, those are very, very much important. So you just push using Git, and then your website kind of updates. Previously, you'd see some websites in the past, they will have a guy holding a shovel, putting it on the ground, and they're like work in progress from 12 a.m. till 7 p.m. From 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. we're going to be unavailable. I don't think that's necessary anymore, right? So with with continuous deployments and integrations, we do away with all of those. Yeah, so communities and user groups, right? This is like a very important part to me. Community in Africa is pretty huge. Like it's growing and it's growing fast. In Africa, tech is seen as the next best thing, right? It used to be oil, agriculture, maybe animals, well, I don't know. But for now, it's tech. Everyone sees developers or being a developer, I tell you, as the closest thing to being maybe God, because you could just wake up in the morning, open up your laptop, build just about anything. If you build it in your garage, you could turn to Google or Microsoft or some other important stuff, right? So it's really huge. I look at the meetups here since I got here. I see that the meetup numbers are from 20 to 40. And they're like, yeah, that's a good turnout. That's like what we normally have. And I was like, in Nigeria, for instance, a good number would be 150, right? It could go up to as high as 250. We have meetups, the really popular ones that go up to 700, 800 people attending meetups. And then you begin to wonder why do so many people come together for, they just want to come to sit somewhere from morning, because it's usually in the morning. It's from around 11 a.m. to like 3 p.m. That's when we have meetups, not in the evening, right? But then you begin to find out like the value proposition is quite high, right? These guys, they all share common values. They come together. They're like, hey, we want to learn stuff. I think you're like me, right? Why don't we come together? Let's sit together and, just talk about something. Let's network. It might happen once in 2 months, right? But they are very happy to attend. Although at the beginning, they could come because of snacks and t-shirts or pizza, right? But then over time, they begin to see the importance and they stay for much longer than the t-shirts. But first, we did use t-shirts to bring them in, which wasn't so bad. So these are just a couple of communities we do have in Africa. There's Follow Africa, which is pretty much huge. It's all over Africa. There's GDG. GDG wasn't of Africa, but then it's in Africa now and it's huge as well. There's the Andela Learning Community. There's like over 30,000 members of that. There's Ingressive Communities. There's Dev Center, Facebook Dev Circles, also not of Africa, but pretty huge in Africa now. And there's Dar es Salaam JS. That's from Tanzania. That's like one of my favorite communities as well. So what are the benefits of having communities, right? A lot of people feel it's just, hey, there's just a bunch of people talking about stuff. For us, it's gone way more than that, right? So we have thousands of Africans learning to code and getting software jobs. Yeah, so I'll tell you give you very short illustration. During the day, I say during the day because at night I do a bunch of other stuff. During the day, I work at a company that, that's very big on talent in Africa. It's called Andela, right? And what do I do for them? I'm a community manager. I just help with building communities of people that want to learn to code. So far, there's about 30,000 of them, 30,000 people that started to code from scratch, like from zero across Africa, right? Yeah, so I did see these guys not know anything about code, but now some of them are getting jobs at even Andela themselves. Like they all go on to join Andela later on, right? So if we did leave them to roam free, we say, hey, just go and learn to code somewhere, I don't think any of them would, or a large number of them would come back successful. I mean, I started learning code. When I started, I used Free Code Camp. But I don't know if there are too many people that have finished Free Code Camp or that take Udacity courses completely. I mean, we all have unfinished courses somewhere that we didn't finish, right? Yeah, so that's like one of the importance of these communities to learning. And then we have supporting brands that are very successful. So when you're backing 30,000 learners, right, learning to code, what happens? You have 30,000 people that you've contributed to changing their lives. And they're all like this. They're like, if you mention this brand, they're like, yeah, we have them at heart, right? That's one benefit as well. We have African techies that are contributing to like global tech ecosystem. There's a bunch of them that are like everywhere. They're roaming around like me, maybe. Yeah, I call them my homeless friends because they're just everywhere. Yeah. So also when you have this much engineers, this much software developers, they're also solving a bunch of problems. I think that's like the unique one. They are all problem solvers. They're solving problems just around them and just about anywhere. Also, we have more food because as the community grows, we have more food at the meetups. There's more pizza. A lot of people are contributing. There are more t-shirts. In Nigeria, I wear a lot of tech t-shirts. I wear a lot of meetup t-shirts. But I just pick one. I'm like, that's a new one. Okay. Yeah, which is fun too. So what do building communities mean for a builder? So for you that you own a company, you're probably building stuff. Number one, which is very important to me, you're giving back to a group of loyal builders as well, right? So you're giving back to developers who in turn win you loyal users. So someone is a developer today, right? Tomorrow they're building their own product off of your own service, right? And then they are basically just extending what you're doing. They're basically just extending the love, I'd like to say, to other people as well. And they are indirectly preaching whatever mission you're preaching, right? You gain ease of entry to markets and understand best fit pricing models. So when you have a community of 800 people, you could easily pitch your product to them. You're like, hey, you guys can try this out. I mean, we all share common goals. My only ask here is the value proposition, it should be right. So we have a lot of people that just come in and it's like they're trying to exploit the numbers, right? They're not providing any value. They're not coming with value at heart. They just want to sell stuff, right? It's benefiting just one part. But if you're coming with a good enough value proposition, you're going to get a lot of people willing to listen to you and try out what you're doing. It could be at hackathons, it could be at meetups, it could be individually. They just ask, hey, there's this awesome stuff I did here. I want to check it out, right? And that would also help inform what your pricing models will be, because who's best to tell you what they could pay for a product than people that would actually use those products, I guess. Yeah, also you benefit from independent advocates. So there's this thing that happens. You find people that are pretty popular in Africa, right, in the tech scene. They like something, you don't have to pay them for it. They just write articles about it. I've written articles for products I don't even know anyone that works at that company. I just like what they do. I use it, I write about it, and then it has like a couple of hundreds or a couple of thousands of views, and that's fine. And there's a ton of other people as well, like me, that just write about stuff they're passionate about. And they don't just write about it, they brag about it as well. They're like, yeah, I use these guys for security. I use Auth0, and Auth0 is better than these other guys. Or I use Pusher for real-time services on my application, and it's better than these other guys, right? You get quick feedback from your product as well. So from first deployment to seasoned usage, also you earn autonomous support from members of the community who use your product. Like I said earlier, people use your product, it changes their life, they vouch for you anytime, any day. Yeah, so this is just a picture of, I think this is the first developer conference we did have. We had like around 1,000 people, and then these are just guys that stayed back for pictures afterwards. But then this is a developer conference, I would say. Right here is a meetup in Lagos, what it looks like. So I think at this one we had around 600. Yeah, these meetups. We'd normally use these spaces for weddings in Lagos, but then we'd rent them out for events like this because there's a lot of people that attend. If you're on Twitter and you follow community, there's an upcoming meetup, say this Saturday, you probably see similar numbers to this because we've had RSVPs up to that amount. Yeah, so I just say consider building or supporting.
Sorry, wait, that's a meetup?
Yeah, that's a meetup. Huh?
Do they come from all over?
Yeah, so in Lagos, there's 30 million people there.
30 million?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know.
Yeah, so there's 30 million, but in places where you have a couple million people, you could find around 200 people attend meetups, 150, right? Yeah, but if we do have 30, that's a low number. That's just a couple of people that came together to just socialize and talk about stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting bigger as time goes on, actually. Yeah. So just consider building or supporting a remote developer community, because I tell you, it's invaluable, right? So in summary of all I have said, I'd say just keep building fast applications. Make sure they are fast everywhere and they scale according to modern development patterns. It must not be web, it could be mobile as well or desktop. Media optimization is super important. Sometimes it's usually neglected. Um, Diverse teams make more robust international products. Communities and user groups, I mean, I think you've seen it for yourself. It promotes product usage and support. So what's next? I think you begin to ask yourself, how can I build more scalable apps? Probably should talk to your CTO. Probably should talk to your CTO or whoever it is that's in charge. Begin to think around how you want to build more scalable applications. Also, begin to think, are you providing more support for people using your product, right? And how can you make this support better through communities as well? So at this point, I'd like to ask if there are any questions. Does anyone have any questions, feedback, suggestions? Yep.
So you were showing earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know the trend? Like, where are we coming from, and
okay.
where do you guys think?
Okay. Yeah. So by 2025, we should have about 50% 4G penetration in Africa, right? Yeah, that's like mobile internet penetration across Africa. So that's where we're heading, like in the near future. Where we are from, very.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, where we're from, it's been pretty. I wouldn't say it's pretty good, because I think Nigeria, for instance, the mobile phone came in 1999, right? So we've been trying to keep up to pace with the internet. In the big cities, you find a lot of people use applications, normal applications, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook, and then some other niche applications peculiar to some other people, right? But for those that are not in the big cities like Lagos, Johannesburg, Abuja, they find it difficult to use these applications. So what we have in Nigeria now, or in Africa, you begin to see USSD applications. So you want to make a bank transfer, you do not need internet. We're adjusting to no or zero internet. We're beginning to use something like you dial *737, put the account number, how much you want to send, put a PIN, and you send. Then it sends money from your account. Yeah, so we're beginning to use technologies like that. If you're probably familiar with what's going on in Africa, you'd have heard of M-Pesa. M-Pesa is it's a mobile money system where you do not need internet. You just use a SIM card menu to send money, to buy airtime, and it's pretty popular. It's one of the biggest technologies in Africa right now.
Transaction, I heard that mobile is even more than what we do here.
Yeah.
They use that for.
Yeah, so we use mobile money more than here. I see here a lot of people swipe cards and then money leaves your account. Wow. That's good. Yeah, so in Africa there's a lot of mobile money there. Yeah. Because most of the internet is mobile. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay. Does anyone have any other question? Could you take a picture of me, please?
Oh, I did.
Thanks.
I posted a few already.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So any other questions?
So what are the so these meetups? I'm sorry, I'm stuck.
Okay.
500, taking my head around. So what are the? Would you say that meetups in these communities?
Yeah.
Groups that are supporting the developers and the trucking.
Yeah.
Would you say that most of the hot topics of the day similar to different states, or is it? I think it's different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same, right? Because those meetups are usually for developers, and we've made it a habit for you to be a developer in Africa. You try to be on Twitter, right? So everyone is basically on Twitter. You're seeing all the latest trends from Twitter. You're seeing new stuff being built, right? So we have a lot of folks working on new and emerging technologies. We have a lot of blockchain developers, a lot of people talking about um, GraphQL, and like they're very particular about it. A lot of folks still doing like the normal stuff, front end, back end, machine learning, AI, AR, VR. Yeah, and there are specialized meetups for those. Those meetups might not be as large as this. These meetups are like general meetups where we have like speakers who speak from front end development to back end development. They talk about machine learning. Some talk about building communities. Some talk about learning how to learn, right? So you'd find meetups where the topic is specific to maybe AR or VR, and there's going to be about 60, 80 people attend those meetups. Yeah, they're a lot smaller. Does that help?
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So if there are not any more questions, I did keep up additional resources here. I do like the second and the third post. They give you an insight as to what the African tech ecosystem, where it's been and where it's leaning towards in the coming years. Thank you very much for your time.